Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia and welcome back to the Overwatch League Roundup. Win Conditions, Philadelphia Fusion Edition. So, we've pretty much, this is the last team to wrap up now in terms of the pack that are chasing the playoffs. And I mean the automatic playoffs. Philadelphia Fusion are the team in the worst position right now. On a -1 differential and a 12-9 record, yes, their record equals what Seoul, London and Shanghai have, but their map differential is really not on their side, especially compared to Seoul. The thing is, Philadelphia are in a position like London are. They're kind of rubbing their hands together. And the reason for this is, they are the team with possibly the second easiest run-in in Stage 4. So, they'll start off their Stage 4 in Week 1 with the Guangzhou Charge and Chengdu Hunters. Entirely winnable games, right? Entirely winnable games. And games they have to win if they want a chance of getting into the automatics. In Week 2, they will play the Houston Outlaws and Toronto Defiant. Yes, the Houston Outlaws are looking in form right now, but I think the Fusion have enough about them to see them off. Toronto Defiant, they really shouldn't be losing to. In Week 3, they play the Paris Eternal. This is another winnable game, but after that, they have to play the Vancouver Titans. Now, they can take maps off the Vancouver Titans, but I don't think they can win against the Vancouver Titans. But that is their most difficult game of the stage by far. And to be quite honest, just like the London Spitfire, it's entirely feasible that Philadelphia could go 6-1 in Stage 4, which would put them in a very good position to try and push for those playoff spots. So yes, you'd have to expect them to lose to Vancouver. In Week 4, they will round off their stage against the Seoul Dynasty. Now this will be the blockbuster match, because I believe, possibly, this match will decide which one of those perhaps might take the playoff spot. It depends on other results, obviously, but Philadelphia will most likely have to win this game to try and get into the playoffs. Or the automatic playoffs, anyway. It's winnable for Philadelphia, especially as Seoul don't look consistent. Seoul have got much more difficult games to plan for in the stage as well. So, Fusion are in a good place in terms of their fixture list. The only thing is they've dropped some funny games. Some weird games. They dropped a game to the Houston Outlaws in Stage 1, which they should never have dropped. They should never have dropped that game. We could see a stage where London and Philadelphia are at the top of those stage standings. It would be interesting and different. But we also could see London and Philadelphia, because of their fixture list this stage, actually squeeze out the Gladiators and Seoul, which would be something quite interesting, actually. And it would make them 5th and 6th seed. Last time London and Philadelphia were 5th and 6th seed, what happened? They were our grand finalists. So, anything's possible. And when you look, they are also still in the hunt for the Atlantic Division title, but again, much like the London Spitfire, it's not really feasible to see them catching the New York Excelsior. Another point that also benefits to Philadelphia, much like it benefits London, is perhaps a 2-2 roll-lock. If that comes in for Stage 4, then that benefits Philadelphia hugely, because you get to put Carpe back on those DPS picks, like the Widowmaker, like the McCree. We've seen a bit of it in Stage 3, and it's been pretty successful for Philadelphia. And it has, I believe, seen them through to the stage playoffs for Stage 3. It hasn't. They were just outside, actually. That's unfortunate, because Stage 3 has been a weird one for playoffs. But Philadelphia have looked much better this stage than they have previously. The problem with Philadelphia is, and London have a similar problem, but the thing is, I think Philadelphia are worse, inconsistency. I still believe that these teams like Philadelphia and London could be right up there with the likes of Excelsior and Shurk and Titans. But the problem is their consistency. They drop silly games to lower teams. They can't afford it. They can't afford to drop those games. We've seen Philadelphia lose earlier in the season to the likes of the Dallas Fuel, to the Florida Mayhem, to the Houston Outlaws. And it's not good enough. That's the sort of games you can't be losing. And it's harsh to say, but it's true at the end of it. You know, they made hard work of beating the Boston Uprising in Stage 3, when really that could have been a 4-0. Same with beating Atlanta Reign in Stage 3. Atlanta, what, they went 1-6 in Stage 3? Fusion need to, you know, make these wins more clear-cut. They need to make these wins more clear-cut, and they need to be more consistent. And this is what worries me about Stage 4. If they make hard work of the games against Guangzhou, or Houston, or Paris, or, you know, Seoul, then a freak map 5 could see them lose those games, and it will cost them an automatic playoff spot. It really would cost them. They have to have a very clean Stage 4, with perhaps the only loss coming against Vancouver. Every map counts for the Fusion, because their differential is not on their side. So the more 4-0s they can get in Stage 4, the better. But the first thing to concentrate on is the wins. They must get the wins, and then they must get the 4-0s as well. In terms of anyone catching them, they're fairly okay. The Dallas Fuel are the team in 10th that are just behind them. I don't see the Fuel catching them. They're on a bad run of form. They're 2 wins behind them. And when you look beyond that, 3 wins behind them, they really shouldn't be caught by the rest of the pack. So they shouldn't really fall out of the play-ins. But I don't think Fusion really want to contest the play-ins, because anything can happen on the day in a knockout competition, and I don't think the Fusion will be the most strongest team in that competition. I don't think they'll even be the second strongest team, because you look at the teams above them, obviously it's the 6th place is the cutoff for the automatics. So you look at the teams above them, Hangzhou Spark, the Gladiators, Seoul Dynasty, London Spitfire and the Shanghai Dragons. All of those teams, I think, can edge out the Philadelphia Fusion in a knockout situation. And only 2 teams go from the play-ins into the playoffs. So, Fusion really needs to pick up some wins. Really needs to pick up some wins, otherwise they're going to have to go extremely clutch. And I don't know with the Fusion. Again, much like London and Seoul, inconsistencies have plagued them this season. Otherwise they would have been in a much better situation than they are now. But that, or those, are your win conditions for the Philadelphia Fusion. I don't think we want to see our runners-up from last season not in the playoffs this season. That would be a bit rubbish. I want to see them try and get back to where they were last season. It will be interesting, and a 2-2 meta could see them rejuvenate in Stage 4. Next up on this roundup will be the Dallas Fuel. The Dallas Fuel will be an interesting team to do, because they are in a much different situation than the teams we've covered already, and it will start getting saucy from now on in when you start looking at the other teams that are so close together, going from 10th all the way down to 17th, 18th in the league. That was your Philadelphia Fusion, and I'm going to leave it here for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. See you then.